This is the Powerful Communication Podcast from Comsteria, and my name's Colin Kelly. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I'm going to talk today about winning, and I'm going to do it via football, and in particular Celtic Football Club. But really what I'm talking about here could be your comms team, it could be your business, it could be politics, performing arts, sports, you name it. Any situation you're in where you're looking for success. And I think if you look at how much Celtic Football Club have won over the last 15 years or so, I heard one of the commentators at the Cup final yesterday refer to it as a 15-year era of almost total dominance. Like, which it is. It's quite something. And I think if Celtic were an English team, if they were like Man United or Liverpool or Man City, then your LinkedIn's, your blogs, your podcasts, I think it would be full of lessons in success from Celtic Football Club. But I think because we're in Scotland, and especially in the west of Scotland, no one's really going to do that, are they? Because there's a sort of sporting or a football at least divide that's quite passionate on either side. And why would anybody enter into that? Well, I'm okay entering it into that for the simple reason that I'm a St Mirren fan. And aside from the fact that we might get relegated tomorrow night, let's not go there just yet. Let's remember that this season, or last season now, we've already beaten Celtic. We beat Celtic and we won a trophy just before Christmas. So I'm all right. I am neither pro-Celtic, but neither am I anti-Celtic. I don't mind. We've already beaten them and got some silverware, which for St Mirren is kind of once in a generation. So I'm quite happy to talk about lessons in success from Celtic Football Club. And there's a couple of interesting things I wanted to highlight. And one was, this time last week, shortly after Celtic beat Hearts and won the title, one of the reporters was interviewing Callum McGregor on the pitch when they were still sort of clearing up the melee that had happened just behind him. So he gestures over his shoulder, points behind himself towards the Celtic fans and said, "You can see what it means to people here." And I'm sure he does respect the fans, or I know he does. I saw the speech he gave yesterday after they'd won the Scottish Cup. But I think in that moment when he said, "You can see what it means to people here," I don't think he's just meaning we've got wonderful fans. I think he means it literally. You can see what it means to people here. In that they are absolutely obsessed with Celtic winning. They expect Celtic to win. They need Celtic to win. And I think Callum McGregor, as the captain and the players and the manager, I think they're absolutely aware of that. And quite often in sport, people talk about, the person that wins is whoever wants it the most. And when I look at Celtic and I listen to Celtic, the conclusion that I come to is, yes, they do want it the most. Like, whatever that means, like, rightly or wrongly, because obviously there is a negative side to it. Like, if you're that obsessed with winning, if it means that much to you, and you can see that in a section of their support, if it means that much to you, that might be taking a toll somewhere else, down the line. But in terms of the players and the manager, they need to win, they expect to win, they're obsessed with winning, and I think that apart from that day when they played St Mirren, I think they want it more. I think they certainly wanted it more yesterday. That was very much the impression I got from watching that game and listening to the interviews before and after. I know that Dunfermline wanted it, and I know that they went out and applied themselves and tried hard, but I think Celtic wanted it more. I think Celtic needed it more. And so what can you take from this, and how do you apply it to yourself in your own situation? Well, the first thing I'd say is I think you need to be really clear about what winning looks like. And I think any successful sports team, any successful athlete has a crystal clear vision of what winning looks like. And the truth is, that's easier if you've done it before. And I think that's where Celtic have an advantage. Like, the number of times, the number of things that these players have won, they know what it looks like, and more than that, they know what it feels like. And if you haven't had that, then that's an unknown, and sometimes there's a fear of the unknown. So I wonder if sometimes there's a fear for some of us of winning. And does the fear outweigh how much we want it? Might be easier just to keep things as they are. Winning might mean things change. It's going to mean I'm bigger, I'm exposed. People notice me. I don't want it. There's a wee bit of me that might not want that. So a really crystal clear vision of what winning means, what winning looks like. Again, easy. If you're a sports team going to win a trophy, then you know exactly what that looks like. If you're a comms team trying to improve your reputation, what does that look like? So articulating what winning looks like, I think, is the first thing. And I think if you can't do that, you have got a problem and you're unlikely to win. Right? So you need a very clear goal. You need to know what winning looks like. Second thing is, what's the cost? And again, you can look at Celtic here and actually pull some lessons from it, because I think the players and the manager understand the cost. But where there's been some difficulties for Celtic is I'm not sure the board and the owner always understand the cost of winning. And I think they're trying to do it on as little as possible. And I think you've got players, you know, that would run through walls for each other and the manager and the fans. You've got fans that will follow them all over the world, right, and do whatever, you know. And again, we've seen that with a section of the support this year, right, who their commitment is completely at odds with that of the board and the manager that they had for 8 games, who we probably wouldn't be best not to mention, right? So I think being honest about the cost. Now, that could be a financial cost, and that's what the Celtic board and the Celtic owner continually have to sort of navigate their way around. But then there's the immediate personal cost to me. It's like, what am I giving up? How much harder do I need to push to get that 1% edge or whatever it is? You know, and it amazes me the number of businesses who fail to achieve what they want because they're shy, or they fail to achieve what they want because, I don't have time, I'm too busy. But they're sucked into the black hole of social media day after day after day. You know, and I think being honest about that cost, what do I need to sacrifice? And then the third thing is, well, okay, then what's my next step? I've got a clear idea of what winning looks like. I'm prepared to make the sacrifice. So what do I do right now, in this moment? What's the next move I make? And I think if you ask that of yourself routinely, so that goes round and round. What does winning look like? So you've got this goal, you're visualizing it. What's the cost? What do I need to contribute? What do I need to give up? What pain do I need to feel right now, in this moment, day after day after day after day? And then, okay, with that in mind, then what's my next step? What do I do now? And I think if you make that a habit, those 3 things, if that goes round and round and round your head and you actually turn that into action, I think you'll be in a far stronger position and much more likely to win than without that. The difficulty is, how do you do this? How do you want to win so much without it turning into a negative, striving obsession? And I don't have all the answers, because this is something I'm still learning and developing and dealing with myself. But I think it's about lots and lots of really small micro habits. So, you know, you're not sitting there with your fists clenched and your face red going, I need to win, you know, and turning yourself into some sort of a monster. It actually becomes a sustainable, ethical, a restorative process that goes round and round and round and round. It becomes like what the sort of arseholes of the world would refer to as an ecosystem. That's what you need. But within that, there needs to be rest, play, playfulness, you know, doing other stuff, all of that, so that it becomes sustainable. So there you go. I hope that's useful. Clear idea of what winning looks like. What's the cost? What's the sacrifice? And then with that in mind, what's my next step? Good luck. And maybe it'll be St Mirren that are winning lots of things next year. Or just winning the championship. Thank you very much for listening.